Common values, common goals, common sense. The Common Sense Podcast with Semi Bird.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. I think that's the phrase, and welcome to episode 18 of Common Sense. My name is Semi Bird, and I'm a candidate for Washington State Governor. And if there's anyone that's new that's tuning in, this is something that we started to allow me an opportunity to connect more live. So we're live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. I believe I covered them all. It allows me an opportunity to connect with potential voters, to connect with citizens of Washington State, and give you guys an opportunity to ask me questions and for us to have a conversation. This is, again, live. I brought some questions down, haven't read through them. That's part of the agreement that we have, I guess, that I imposed to say that we take questions here. Let me set my water bottle down. We take questions here live in the chat, which I'm looking to my left, your right. And then we also have questions that come in advance. And so I don't look at these because these are fresh and new, and then these are fresh and new. So I'm surprised by these, and I'm going to be surprised by these as well. So if I pause on some of these and I pause on some of those, well, you know what? I'm human, and we're going to do this together. And if it's something I don't know, well, then educate a brother, because that's what we're here for. And so the purpose of this podcast is, for this episode, to give you an update. Give you an update on how we're doing as a campaign, and essentially keep it real as to what's happening in Washington State elections, what's happening with this election, the governor's election, because that's what I'm very much concerned about. And then also, what can we expect? And then it's questions and answers for the rest of the hour. And we have a lot of folks who have tuned in, and I'm looking right now, so many friends have joined us. And I want to thank you guys very much. And that's how we always start. There's so much negativity when you run a campaign for a statewide office, and it's unfortunate. As I've said before, this idea that politics is supposed to be dirty, it's not true. It's people being bad, and there's no excuse for it. So when you act bad under the guise of politics, it's just a human being acting badly. And we need to get back to civility. We need to get back to human decency. And some people will call this moral or civil behavior. You call it whatever you want to. But as Dr. King said, it's always the right time to do the right thing. I always try to do the right thing. And I don't always get it right. As some of you know, there's a group that's out there that is literally making it their life's work to assassinate my character. And in their minds, they're ruining me. They're ruining me. And so what I say to them is simply this. You know what? I get it. It's not personal. I'm not mad at you. You will not make an enemy of Semi Bird. And as a matter of fact, once we win the convention, I'm going to reach out to you with an open hand to shake your hand and to unite, to say now we've won the delegates' vote for this convention. We've received the endorsement of the Washington State Republican Party. Now let's come together as we should. Let's partner. Let's work together to win this election for the good of the citizens of Washington State. Because after all, is that not why we're here? Candidates, is that not why we run for office? This is a position of serving. And as I've said before, I'm applying for a job, because I intend on going to work, not just to report to Olympia and hold down a position. I am not a career politician. I'm a career American. The fact that I'm running for office tells you how bad it is in Washington State. So I ask all of you who support me, be confident that everything that you're doing is working. Everything that we are doing together is working. I just got back, I want to say the day before yesterday. Yesterday was my day of family and kind of part-time, because I never have a day off, and that's okay. That's the nature of the beast, right? But we came back from 7 days on the road, and this was primarily on the west side of the state. East side, we never forget about you. I'm on the east side right now. We never forget about you. But we spent a week on the west side. going from county to county to county. We were at an amazing veterans event. Send a Vet Foundation. I encourage everyone to look up Send a Vet Foundation and participate, give. This is a foundation that partners with veterans, takes them hunting, takes them fishing, gets them out in the outdoors. And when you understand the veteran suicide rate, that we have young men and women coming back from war who put themselves out there in the line of duty to protect and to serve this great nation, those who swore an oath to protect and to defend the Constitution of the United States, let's remember that. Let's give them their respect, and let's support organizations that support veterans. We must always do that. And then let's never forget our men and women in law enforcement. I visited senior leadership and staff from the Enumclaw Police Department, one of the most squared away police departments I've ever visited. And I don't want to say too much greatness about that department because I don't want to blow their cover that it's an amazing city, amazing community, an amazing department, a good place to live and a great place to work. But they're doing it right. And I'm going to be back because they have a great program there that they're doing with their homelessness. And it really has a lot to do with them recognizing that this is a mental health and addiction problem. So I'll finish up that portion I was talking about and just say, stay positive, stay engaged. We are meeting with all communities. And that was something that was mentioned in an evaluation from I guess you would call them an expert on politics in Washington State. And he evaluated all the top 4 candidates for governor, 2 on the Democrat side and 2 on the Republican side. And obviously I was one of them. And I appreciated his evaluation. And I must say, I agree with his evaluation. This gentleman tends to be very fair all the time. He's probably one of my favorite people in the state that has anything to do with politics because it always seems like he's fair. And he calls it as it is. And one of his things that he said about our campaign was that this is a time where people will take things personally. And I'm going to look at it this way. He was giving us a heads up. Don't take this personal, what they're doing, these attacks that they're trying to slander you, vilify you. These are my words, not his. Don't take it personal. It's political. They're my words. They're trying to remove us off the ballot to get us out of the way. It's not going to work. And in fact, what it does is it encourages me more to work harder. I've told you guys this. But he also pointed out something very wonderful, that we are actually getting out there. We started running in November of 2022 on Veterans Day is when we announced, and that was not by accident. It was also the day of our state constitution, but we started campaigning in the inner city of Seattle. And the gentleman mentioned how we've been out at all the Lincoln Day dinners and all the Republican events. And I'm going to remind everybody listening, and please listen closely. That is a portion of what the Bird campaign has been doing. Because this campaign, our campaign, your campaign, those of you who support us, it's not about Republicans or Democrats. It's about the citizens of Washington State. And that extends outside of a Republican Party. It extends to all members of the community. So we started out in the inner city. Black and brown communities, Slavic communities. I just had a podcast with a gentleman this morning representing the Slavic community. I've been into churches all over the state. The first black church in the state was in Spokane, and I was there in an amazing congregation, and churches all over the west side, all over the state. And whether I'm a Christian or not, it's not a matter of just me being a Christian. It's a matter of me connecting with that representation of that community, and mosques and synagogues and all representation, temples across this state, because we value all citizens. And that, I believe, is the difference of our campaign, something that I'm very proud of. And for those of you who are part of our team, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. And I also want to share something with those of you who may not know. So here's a fun fact. We are not a consultancy campaign. The majority of my team, well, I'm just going to say it, the entire team, is an all volunteer staff. My campaign manager, great man, all of them great and wonderful, a successful businessman. someone who max contributed to our campaign and then said, we got to do more. This is someone who's proven himself successful in the business community and then went all in and said, well, now I'm going to give you me. And then that wasn't enough. My family supports you. And then there's them. And I have an amazing media director, comms director, senior advisor. And it's an extended family out from there. They operate our headquarters in Enumclaw, and it extends across the entire state from Spokane to Whatcom County to Clark County, all over to Kitsap, all over. And that's you. All of you, many of you who are tuning in here, I just cannot thank you enough. Stay positive. You're going to have those people that are there to shake things up. But you know what they say in that whole military term? When you're over the objective, you're going to take flack. We know that going in. We knew it going in. It's all part of their strategy, but we have our strategy, which is to stay focused on the mission. And the mission has never been about Semi Bird. It has always been about we the people, all the people of Washington State, and solutions with actions, what we're going to do once we get elected, how we're going to bring and create value for the citizens, how we're going to bring transformational change to Washington State. That's what this is all about. This is a mission that should be selfless, not selfish. So stay positive, stay on mission. And then now I'm going to go to questions. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab the list here. And then I'll switch left and I'll look to see what's going on in the chat box. So here we have someone, no name. So this person chose to give no name. So it says no name. I became a convicted felon at 18. Wow. And that all too often happens. I've changed my ways. God bless you, young man or young lady. And now I live in a small town and I study earth sciences. Is there a plan to restore constitutional rights to Washington voters like myself? So for you, I'm not sure if you understand this, and I wish I had your name, and I want you to be proud of who you are. Look forward, grow forward. We were just talking about this, and I've mentioned this in my other podcasts. There are so many others, tens of thousands of folks like you who have overcome adversity. You did what you had to do. You moved on, and now you're working your way up. You keep working your way up. In 2022, Washington State passed a law. You're automatic. Your voter rights are there. You can vote now. You are of age to vote, and I pray that I can earn your vote. And let me just say this. You are a role model. You hearing what I'm saying? You made a mistake. That's my assumption. If not, you send me an email. Send me at birdforgovernor.com. You send me an email. I'd like to get to know you. But if you made a mistake, you move on. And you're doing the right thing. You get a job, you go to school, and you make a better life for yourself, and then you create value for others. Start a family. Whatever makes you happy. Stay that path. And try to help others along the way so that they don't make the same mistake you did. And for those of you out there who forget that we're human, that we make mistakes, that some of us have fallen, and then we get back up and we move forward, understand this. We're not alone. And I'm going to digress again. Over that last week I was gone, I met a handful of people. I met a beautiful gentleman from Chelan County at an event up there. And he came to me at the end of the event with tears in his eyes, tattoos in his arms, an earring, this beautiful man, cool looking dude, but a beautiful heart and a beautiful family. And he said, I'm all those things you mentioned. And the reason he said that was because I talked about love, forgiveness, and lifting people up out of poverty and despair, and always saying that we don't hold people back or put people down. We lift people up. That's what my campaign represents. He was an addict. He was in prison. And now look at him. Running a business, beautiful family, making his way in life. And then I went to this posh event, this beautiful event in North Bend. Beautiful patriots own that. When I say patriot, just someone who loves their country and wants a better way for King County. This couple, who they themselves, I believe I heard the husband didn't even finish high school. Oh, brothers and sisters, they are doing well. good-hearted people who love, humble people who love and give back. And then a gentleman in the crowd who looked so nice, dressed so well, came to me afterwards, pulled a coin out of his pocket to show me he had been clean and sober, I want to say for 35 years. And again, appreciated what I said. And then at that same event, this beautiful young lady that I have mentioned before, beautiful. I met her at a spiritual event, a Christian event, before I even announced my run for governor. I may have talked about her in previous podcasts. She looks like a supermodel. And when I met her, this glamorous dress, and she told me her story, how she was a drug addict on the streets, lost her daughter, got clean, and got on that path, that lit path. She found her faith, and I got to see her again. And she looks amazing, and I'm going to partner with her on our programs to bring more hope to those who are suffering the darkness of addiction. This is what right looks like. We lift people up, and we respect and we acknowledge that beauty when people find that light. So I'm going to move on. But this is what this campaign stands for. Lifting people up, not putting people down. Thank you, young man or young woman, for your comment or your question. Carly writes, with the recent decision by SCOTUS, do you feel like your strategy changes now as far as what counties do, or counties you spend more time in order to get a win? P.S. Looking forward to my hug in a couple weeks. So I know this person. I won't say her last name. She's in Clark County. She's a beautiful human being. She represents disabled patriots, I'm going to call her. She's just this beautiful young lady. Carly, I have to say, because you didn't elaborate on which SCOTUS, because there are several decisions that have come out. I know there were court rulings on President Trump. So if you happen to be logged in, I'll look for you here. And if someone knows what your question was, just be specific on which decision you're speaking of, because I honestly can't guess it. But since I had you, I want to say thank you. You're a beautiful human being. You are a great champion for those who you're an inspiration and a role model. You know, this young lady, she's written a book. She's a published author. She's in a wheelchair, a paraplegic, and she's an amazing, beautiful human being. And yes, she gets a hug every time I see her. She's great. Linda, I'm going to switch left. Linda, I'm going to get back to you here in just a second. So now I'm looking. So my friends, bear with me. I'm going to pop back up here, and I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed any questions. I'm looking for question marks, and you guys, if I'm missing anything, please type it again. I'm just scrolling through. And you guys, I have a chat box. It's got Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, and I think Twitter's on here. And hello, my friends. I have Clark County in here. I've got King County, all over the place. Let's see. Someone said our moral compass has been skewed. Mike, I couldn't agree more. Let's see what we got going on here. And so if you guys see it, please type it in again for me. Okay, no, that's just like someone's having a discussion about smearing or whatever, and that's fine. I recognize that gentleman's name. What do you believe the purpose of government is? This is Angelica with a beautiful name. So Angelica asks, thank you, Angelica. I saw that question mark. What is the purpose of government? So I'm going to give you the easy answer, and I hope maybe it's what you expected, but we're going to use the Constitution because that's the foundation of my governance for when we win and we take over in January 2025. Article 1, Section 1, it's that last sentence that said government, right? Government's responsibility is to protect and to maintain the individual rights of citizens. So, Angelica, as far as I'm concerned, that is my interpretation of what government's purpose is. The governor is there in a position of service, which requires servant leadership in representation of the citizens. The Declaration and the Constitution, and I'll just read from here, Article 1, Section 1, powers inherent in the people. The people vest their authority in those elected officials. That's why this is a constitutional republic. You vest your authority in us temporarily to represent you. So that's why I'm applying for a job to all of you. So, and then it says, government derives their just powers from the consent of the governed. So I guess I just said that, did I not? So Angelica, I'll look to see whether I validated how you expected that, but that's how I would answer that. Let's see, here we go. Looks like we have a couple folks in there, and this is it. They're talking about someone smearing someone, and I understand one gentleman does not support me. He supports Dave Reichert, and another person supports me. And I would say to both of you, be nice. And I'm not, again, saying that you're not, but it's okay. I'm okay. And if this is about me, let them do their thing. Let them do they created an entire website funded by a very wealthy man, partnering with this other organization to do this. And it's not a surprise. It's okay. It's not personal. I'm not taking it personal. It's in their minds, if they can get you guys to believe these things, if they can get you to say what I did 25 or 30 years ago or 40 years, it goes back 40 years, so that you can say I'm a bad person. I have sinned and my God does not forgive me. So neither should you. As if I'm asking you, which I'm not. I don't. I serve one. And then in that chain of command is my wife, the love of my life, and my commanding officer. Again, this is not about me, what they're doing. It's more about all of you. How do you perceive this? How do you respond to this? Do you believe it? And do you believe in it? Do you believe that if a person made a mistake 25, 30 years ago, person had financial difficulty, a person was wrongly charged with a crime, but then under the Fifth Amendment, the charges were dropped, is that person a bad person? I mean, I've been irresponsible in my past. And I had an interview with the Seattle Times. Jim Brunner, I'm going to mention his name, because what I will give him is simply this. He has been respectful. Now, he did an interview with me. He may come out and slay me and pound me into the dirt. And again, I do an interview and I go, well, this seems really nice. He was very nice. And then it could be boom, boom, boom. Again, I'm not going to take it personal. He's doing whatever he thinks. And the last article he did on me, I thought was fair. I didn't like some of the wording. But again, at least he did an article on me. And at least he was fair. And so you got to give the man some praise there, right? And so he asked me, Simi, so don't you take some responsibility? And my answer to him was yes. Oh, Jim, man, I was a late bloomer. I was irresponsible. I was financially irresponsible. But you know what, y'all? You know what? I have an 815 Beacon score, credit score. Yeah, you won't find a judgment on my credit report. You won't find collections or anything. And I don't mind publishing it. I have LifeLock. There's my commercial. You know why? Because I kept moving on up, right? I have real estate. I've invested. I've retired from the federal government as a federal director. I retired from the United States military. So I get a pension from the federal government, from the military. We just kept working our way up, just like that 18-year-old person who's finishing school, and he or she will also find their way. And I pray that there are no people along the way to try to rip them down, that nothing discourages them from participating in a government of the people, by the people, which should be for the people. So there's no need to argue or to throw stones from our glass houses. And let my supporters understand, don't take this personal, because I'm not taking it personal. It's all good. All right. We're going to do another question from over here. I'm going to go back to the sheet because this is all about you. Okay, we did that. I'm going to go down. What is your position on the use Albert sensors? So this is from Geometric. So Geometric, you've got me. I have no idea. Albert sensors. Does anyone else on chat understand Albert sensors? Apparently Geometric felt that I should know that, and I don't, and I'm not afraid to say I don't. So please, Geometric, help me to understand, help me to learn something new today. I love this. I love this. Okay, minimum wage hike is killing small business. What are my thoughts? Well, yeah, they are. And so we just passed a minimum wage hike increase. I believe it's $16.28. That just happened. I believe that was in January. We have the highest minimum wage in the nation. So what happens when we raise minimum wages? You get off a shift, you got a raise, but then you go on the way home to the store to buy something or services. And that small business owner, they have to raise their prices for their cost of goods sold because it goes up, so does their products or services. So you're going to be paying more. So you're making a little bit more, but you're paying more. And what I've said about this is it creates a net loss, not a net positive for our employees. The free market works wonderfully on its own. It's been scientifically proven that people, small business owners, in order to be competitive in the markets, pay more wages without making it mandatory. So that is my take on it. And right above that question was, what is your stance on red flag laws? Now, this is from Brandon. Brandon, the red flag laws that I am understanding come from segregation times. And so, Brandon, if you're still here, again, this could be one of those epic times where we're stumping the chump today. I say that in jest and self-deprecation of myself. Because red flag laws, some people call them sundown laws. That means if you are a minority at a certain amount of time, you don't stay out. Or red flag laws means that you flag people of color or minorities and you single them out. Brandon, were we tracking? And please go into detail, because I like details, because then I'll make sure I'm on the right topic, and then I'll chase that rabbit down the hole, and we'll give you a lot more information in it. So I'm just going to scroll down just to see if I answered, see if Angelica chimed in or Geometric jumped in and schooled the brother on, there he is. Nope, nothing yet. Okay, let's go back over here. And Linda, I ended with Linda. Linda, I'm a delegate for Spokane, the county Republican Party, and I am, she's a delegate for the county Republican Party. And she's going to be at the convention, and she's concerned about multiple aircraft spraying while substances over Washington State. And it is a spraying, white substances. Okay. And research and whistleblowers nationwide have sworn that these substances are toxic and have. So, okay. And again, I'm just going to scan through, because I don't want to undervalue this. I was just going to be quick to respond. What will you as governor do about this dangerous assault on the citizens of Washington State? And she has several questions on this. So what I'll do right now, so Linda, the first question is simply this. Let's get a handle on it in Washington State, because people will say it's a myth. But then there's people who say, no, it's real. Geoengineering, weatherization due to climate change, carbon absorption using chemicals. So I get it. I've researched it. People say, well, Tennessee just passed a law. Other countries pass laws. And so far that dog's not hunting. However, what I will do is simply this, and I said this in a personal engagement with folks the other day. What we will do is we will actually air sample and verify, scientifically verify. That way we're not taking anybody's word. We will do it right here in Washington State, because conspiracy, people say conspiracy, but then again, it becomes reality. So I'm the last person to go, I don't believe it. Why not verify it? So let's take action to verify it. And there is scientific, through air sampling, ways to verify this. So we'll verify it. That way we know. So there's one thing that we'll do, because I would love to get to the bottom of this, because I've heard this over and over and over again. You're not alone on this, Linda. You're not alone. So you will get action from me. And that's a solid, you will get action. We will do this. We will sample, we will verify, and we will continually check if necessary. So there's that. And if there was, no, we don't allow it. So where you put forth a bill, yeah. So would you make executive action? Yeah. So if this is happening, no. The answer is no. We're not going to tolerate that. States' rights, 10th Amendment. No, we're not going to tolerate any federal interventions in Washington State that puts our citizens at risk ever. And again, I've researched weatherization, geoengineering, all of that, and I've yet to find the evidence of this happening in Washington State. It doesn't mean it's not. So I'm going to value what Linda said and what others have said to me, and let us learn together. And we're going to use our state resources. It's not a lot, you guys. So don't worry about it. To put a plane in the air to do air sampling, we got this. We've done it in buses in Seattle just to test the air quality from people who are smoking fentanyl and methamphetamine on public transportation. We just did that about 4 months ago. It's the same technology that we can use. I mean, it's different for external and at altitude. So we'll do that. Here's David. So David, you tell us your administration will be transparent. Yes, David, we will be. And we'll initiate a top-to-bottom assessment of all departments and policy. Yes. What criteria would you use beyond, it says, usefulness and effectiveness of the state bureaucracy? So, David, that's why, and everything that I said and what I printed on my website, we are doing a third-party assessment. The reason I say third-party assessment, now, I've done this for a living. This is what I do for a living. Organizational assessments, performance assessments, review of ledgers and budget, revenue cycles and streams, expenditures. We use the IRS auditing and coding to look at the ledgers to verify. Are you profitable? Are you not? Where are your gaps? Where are your performance gaps? And then organizationally, where are your process gaps? Lean and Six Sigma methodology, HPI, HPT. So that is the methodology. But I don't want the citizens of Washington State to say, well, the governor, the state did it with their people. Well, we will do a non-biased third party who does this professionally and have them come in. So it's validated. No one has to take our word for it. I want it to be third party. It's called validation and trust. And then we use those findings to bring forth positive change for Washington State so we're performing more effectively, more efficiently. This is so we understand where the money's going. The marijuana tax, the gambling tax, right? The climate commitment money tax, almost $2 billion worth. We have the highest liquor tax in the nation. Where's the money going? So, I mean, where's the money going? How is it being spent? Is the program working? Do we need this program? You get it. Where's the strategic planning? What were the key performance indicators to measure our performance that we're actually doing what we're supposed to be doing? Where are the strategic objectives, the performance objectives of every department? It'll be mandatory under our administration that every department has a strategic plan, key performance indicators so that we can measure performance throughout the year. And then we're going to report that on a continuous improvement website because we're going to adapt a mindset of continuous improvement for the Washington State government. And then we're going to make it public so people can go in and see how we're doing. That's called accountability. And that's right, David, transparency as well. He says, as a former NCO, non-commissioned officer, so thank you for your service, sir. Would any of your leadership training be brought into play and eliminate wasteful spending? Yeah, I mean, this is simply accountability. It's a level of professionalism that we understand in the military. NCOs, non-commissioned officers, we all go to schools. We have different levels of leadership courses that we all have to go to all the way up through senior non-commissioned officer training. So I was a senior non-commissioned officer. I chose not to take a commission or a warrant. And so we, step by step, we go to school. And then we come back and then we lead our men and or women. And then we go back to the next level before we advance, and we go to that training and we learn better leadership. And then we come back and we implement. So we're always perfecting ourselves and our skill set. And our skill set is leadership, not just our operational skill set, but our leadership skill set. So that's what we're bringing, brother. And so that you understand, we're going to bring mandatory leadership training to all offices, all leaders of Washington State. All leaders will be required to go through leadership training. I was the director of training and leadership development for the United States Department of Energy out here in Richland. So I got you. No, we're bringing it in, and that's what we're going to bring. That's how I answer that question. Now I'm going to switch over to the left and just kind of catch up with the folks in chat, and I'm going to try to speed it up because I never get through the questions as much as I want to. It's mathematically improbable for anyone to have 815, but to have an 850 credit score. So EVZ, you need to release it if you're going to be claiming that. So 815, and yeah, let me see if I can bring it up right now while I'm answering questions. And so, no, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. But thank you. But this is what we're talking about, you guys. Half truths or spin, or someone says it's mathematically this. Apparently, EVZ is an expert on Experian, TransUnion, et cetera, although I do believe the score goes up higher. But that's okay. I'm not going to argue. We're going to prove. And I'm going to still do this because this is going to be fun. I'm just going to try to bring up and log in. And then if I can't do it in time because I don't want to take up people's time, we will do this again, and I will bring it forward, and then I'll publish it. Why not? We'll just give you the summary, but I'm still going to try to do it because I think it'd be fun, just because I enjoy a challenge. Spike says it's 900. Spike, that's my thought. Oh, and by the way, I do have a background in this, but I didn't want to say because then someone will say something else to that. Someone Google this too. Spike is, I believe, correct, but maybe EV's looking at a different theory. Nobody really does, or else, let me see. Nobody really does, or else other people would be concerned. Okay, that's okay. I'm not going to get into the weeds. I'm just looking for questions. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see here. All right. Still looking for a question mark. Let's see, affordable. What is your top thing you would do to make Washington more affordable to live in, and how? David, thank you. That is a beautiful, and I'm still going to do this. So David, if you're okay with this, I'm going to talk and do this, and that's respect for you, but I really would like to pull this up. It's just me finding, because I get annual reminders of this all the time. Review your latest credit score. So I'm doing this, and I'm hoping my phone will do this. And so this is LifeLock. I'm not sure if you guys can, maybe you can, when this is recorded, you can zoom in. But so David, right now in Washington State, we have a shortage of units, housing units. And what we need to do, solution-wise, is we need to partner with developers and the building community to build more units. We need to deregulate, lower taxes on these contractors, right? These builders, so we can incentivize them to build more units, because we are, by the statistics, we are well below the amount of units we have. It's a supply and demand problem that we have. We don't have enough units here in Washington State. And then the other solution, the other thing is, when we talk about where we and what we allow for people to sign it in, thumbprint, what we allow and where we allow people to build in Washington State. So zoning, right? That's at a local level. That is at a local level. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. I almost want to get up and show you. I guess I was wrong. It's 818. My credit score went up a few points. So I have an 818 beacon score. I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys can freeze this. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Can you guys see that all right? So there's my LifeLock. There's my and this takes in consideration. Oh, so now, and maybe EZV is on point, because this says 850 is the max, and I'm not discounting what the other gentleman said. This was updated within the last 2 months, and there it is. And this is a combination of Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Okay, so there it is. All right. Now everybody knows my credit score. So Easy EVZ, thank you for the challenge, and I appreciate it. Right, I appreciate it. And again, there's always going to be people like that. And I think EVZ has more stuff that they want to add. And they want to talk about past financial discretions that I had in the 1990s or something. Well, you guys have a discussion amongst yourself. Because again, there's not enough proof that I can bring forward, because this is not about me. This is about the election and anything that they can do to try to discredit, to try to convince all of you, the viewers. And why did this come out? Why did this wealthy gentleman, and I'm being nice, come out and finance the creation of a website just to put all this information on 2 weeks before the convention? Because the winds are telling them, the people, the passion behind our campaign is telling them that we're winning. And I'm honored, I'm humbled, because I'm a vessel in all this. This is a calling, and that is my belief. I have faith in this state, and I have faith in all of you. And again, just because EVZ and anybody else wants to come in and do those things, it's fine. Guys, let them do their thing. And take it, bring a smile, and I will smile. And we'll move on. Because if I did something wrong, I'll tell you. I mean, they have their little reports. I did my counter to it. It's all good. It is all good. So, I see something over here. Miss Land. Dawn has questions, Mr. Please answer my previous questions. How do you define the word woman? Well, chromosomes, right? Is there not XXXY? There's two genders. You guys help me out. Am I wrong on that? Is that not how we define? And XY is a man, correct? I mean, I could be wrong. So you guys start typing, because I could be wrong, and I want to stay here. So there's two genders, and it's defined scientifically, Dawn. And sometimes I confuse those two, but I'm pretty sure it's XY is the man, and XX chromosome is the woman. Behavioral scientist, not a geneticist. And then, do you think it's okay for children to have puberty? No, Dawn. Dawn, I do not think it's okay for children to have puberty blockers and wrong sex hormones. Do you think it's okay for men in dresses to compete in women's and girls' sports? Well, I think that would be awkward and cumbersome. But no, if your question is, should men compete in women's sports? I do not think that they should. And then, do you think it is okay for incarcerated males who claim to be women, to be housed with incarcerated women? Dawn, I do not. So I believe I answered all of your questions directly, without hesitation or without equivocation. Thank you for asking your question. Let's see what else we have going on over here. Then I'm going to go back to the sheet. And I'm looking. East side. So I'm hearing something, explosion of cheap apartments. Yes, perhaps preparation for a 15-minute city. Will it get stopped? Or has the train already? So the whole 15-minute city concept, this is more of it's a combination. I mean, we have the smart meters in the side of houses, climate change, ideology, all these things are happening. It is out of control, but it's not too late to stop it, because the Climate Commitment Act just came out just over a year ago. We have the Energy Efficiency Transformation Act, and I know I'm saying the first part, but that act, as I've read it's to transform us from fossil fuels into, looking at the time, into 100% electric. I mean, that is what they want for us. They want to do away with fossil fuels. And we have hydroelectricity, which I believe is 65.7% of our energy, our primary energy for the state. We are blessed with our hydroelectricity, and we have those dams, and I have no intentions ever of tearing down those dams or compromising our hydroelectricity. I do support small modular reactors. Nuclear energy is a viable option for Washington State, and we should do it. I plan on doing it. But we also, and first, must reconstitute, refurbish, whatever your term is, our electrical grid, those substations and our transformers. They need to be upgraded because it's not, the capacity is not substantial enough. It's not capable of handling a future strain that is being proposed. And I hope I'm making sense, you guys. Sometimes I get all the words right, and sometimes I feel miserably. But we need to fix it. We need to fix it. And I'm just going down. Let's see. I think I want to make sure I answered Dawn's questions. And thank you, Civic Crisis. Thank you very much. See, you have the negatives and then you have the positives, and I thank you. I always focus on the positives. And by the way, that's 99% of what I get at when I'm on the road. Positive, 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 positive. It's usually these folks where we get this. Oh, my nephew's on here. Hi, Rashad. Oh, I love you. I'm proud of you. Hello. I'm not gonna call you. Oh, this is my brother Jimmy. God bless him and rest his soul. Yes, this is my nephew. Look at this. This is the first time. I love you. And I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. I'm not gonna cry because I'm a big cry baby. I love my family. And yes, Rashad, I also stay in touch with moms every now and then. Nadine, Nadine's been on this as well. So, this is awesome. Look at that, you guys. Gosh, my whole body is just, you see what I'm saying? Positive. This is my nephew. I haven't seen for too long. I mean, we follow each other sometimes on social media, but I just love him. I'm so proud. I mean, of my nephews and my niece, right? And I've got nephews and nieces, but oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, XXXY. Bing. I got it. Thanks, Dawn. So there it is. And again, I hope I answered Mrs. Land's question, or Miss Land's question, because no matter what you do, no matter what you wear, and I mean this. So, and this is for Miss Land also. Again, I answer the question, but I also want to say, I don't discriminate against anyone, but we must protect the innocence of our children. We must protect children. And I have no problems with those bathrooms that have I think they're called unisex. Again, call me ignorant or what have you, but essentially it's a one person at a time, but guy or girl, you can use the bathroom one at a time. And I'm good with that. But no, I have all three daughters. All of my children are girls. I have three. And so you want to talk about women's rights. I'm that guy, right? You know, I don't want my daughters to have to compete with a male when they're all their life they've been in sports and they want to do well in sports, and then all of a sudden but at the same time, if my daughter chose a different lifestyle when she graduated and she's on her own living her life, I'm going to love her nonetheless. Now, you all may not agree with me. Again, it's my child. You don't have to. But I choose to love. But at the same time, when I've said in the past, let children be children, let parents parent, no, we must protect the innocence of children. If you can't get a tattoo, you can't enlist in the military, you can't buy cigarettes, gamble, get a concealed carry permit. You can't do a lot of things until you turn a certain age, until you reach a certain age, adulthood. Well, then why would we make it legal? Senate Bill 5599, to be specific, that passed last year. Why would we make it legal to change the sex of a child? So this is something I didn't see, Mrs. Land. I don't support it, even if a parent says, I want my 5-year-old to be a boy and she was born a girl. No, I don't support that. So I'm volunteering that information for you. There's that. Okay. See, I didn't have to. That's the sign of a non-career politician. You already went and I answered all the questions and I went ahead and just went further. Yeah, I don't prejudice against anyone. You live your life. You're a grown up. You do how you want to. You want to do all kinds of stuff that I don't, I will love you. I will love you because I don't judge. That's right. Some people may not like that. That's okay. We don't have to agree. And I will still love you and you don't agree with me. You hear what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to go back to my other questions, you guys. I apologize if I'm not keeping up. I'm just looking. I got kind of sidetracked by my nephew because he's amazing. Simi, how will you handle Seattle and the Portland neighbor in terms of extreme liberal agenda? I'll make that the last over here. We're not quitting. We have about 10 minutes. I'm going to pop over here. I just want to make sure I get a balance. So here's me. It's not Republican, Democrat, right? All these people that 99.999.9, I'm making numbers up now, that are coming after me, they're Republican, or so they claim to be, or maybe conservative or whatever. For me, it's not Republican, Democrat. I really don't care. It's common sense. And it goes back to the questions that Ms. Land asked. It's their agenda. Critical race theory, I don't support it. I don't at all. We passed it when I was the school board director, and that's something else that they came out, they attacked with us. I don't support it. You don't teach a child that the color of the skin determines their outcome in life. Just like I would never teach a person that because you've made mistakes in your life and you serve time in prison, that you're forever damned, that you're forever sullied, and you will not have value. You cannot hold office. You cannot. No. Who does that? Who does that? Learn from your mistakes and move the heck on. I mean, that's how I was raised, right? I mean, heck, I could make the argument I'm a very intelligent person as many times as I made mistakes. There's that. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't resist. And thank you, David. And Carolyn, involved in a board of insurance. So 7 out of 39, counties of the state, thereby intentionally violating the rights of employees. Sorry, guys, remember I said I have not read any of these. How can this agency, bought and paid for by labor and employers, have no chance against the internal system of nepotism? The state is violating the venue law in 39 counties. I challenged the venue and won the appeal, which good, and heard my county. And so this is in Stevens. So this is Carolyn. Carolyn, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to research this, and I'm going to ask my team if they have your email, and I'll reach out to you. I really will. I mean, that's my intent, because I'd like to learn more. So I understand that in terms of insurance, and I know there's a board, but I don't know the specifics of your case or what we're talking about here, and I don't want to guess. It wouldn't be fair to you, okay? Or anybody else that could benefit from hearing. So I want to get more detail. And if you wouldn't mind, again, send in the information so that we understand what we're looking at, so that we can use this to help other people. So I really would appreciate it. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to answer this thoroughly, but that's really what I would like. So we're going to go to Stephen. Stephen said, my corner of the state is being overrun by Canadian corporations. What about the 12th and 14th Amendment? When you become governor, are you going to address foreigners occupying sovereign soil? And so 12th Amendment, 14th Amendment of the Constitution. So the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment are known as Reconstruction Amendments. So the 12th Amendment's out of that. The 12th Amendment, 12th Amendment, that is on Electoral College. The 12th Amendment specifically talks about the electors. So now I got it. I think it's like a clause 2 or 3, but we won't get nerd geek on you guys. It's good enough. So the 12th Amendment specifically, electoral, it's president and vice president. The way it used to be is, but before the 12th Amendment, it was the Electoral College. It's whoever had the most president, and number 2 was automatically vice president. So now we have electors. And so the 12th Amendment was specific to those electors. So that's that. The 14th Amendment, this is something that also had to do with voting. And so the 14th Amendment, it goes into a bunch of stuff. The 14th Amendment, oh my goodness. But the reason it was part of the Reconstruction amendments, it was that, I think it was like the 3/4, and you guys, please give me some grace in this. It was the southern states, because of slavery. When they were able to not include slaves, then they dominated by how many representatives they could have in those southern states. And so they weren't counting slaves as full and complete humans. And, well, that was wrong. And so the 14th Amendment brought those rights back and declared them citizens. But the 14th Amendment also talks about naturalized citizens and not. It talks about immigration briefly, but it's also very vague. So what's being used in the 14th Amendment now, and you guys get to correct me if I'm wrong on this. Again, this is memory of our United States Constitution. It's being used right now to say that if you just touch base on American soil and you have a child, that child is naturally a citizen. And so right now, diplomats, if you're a diplomat from another country and you have a child here, does that make that child a citizen? You would think not, because you're a diplomat representing your country. But yet if you're an immigrant coming across the border illegally and you have a child on American soil, you would have protections under this amendment. So the amendment goes into a lot. It talks about, insurrection laws, I believe. It goes crazy. And I'm going to scroll down just to see if people are giving me feedback and seeing whether... Todd, thank you, my friend. You're great. Thank you very much. Todd's got to go. He's just checking in. I'm probably exceeding my time, but thank you very much. Oh, and I've got this. So this is another good question over here. But man, you guys are popping these in. Federal government literally overthrew those two state governments to install new ones. You have to bring some clarification. 3/5. Thank you very much, Sammy. And Sammy is 100% right. And thank you. Okay. So now let's go. I had a good question up here. It was direct. Oh, this is good. So this comes from, I would just say Barab. It's an interesting code or handle. What is your strategy to win against Bob Ferguson and the general election? So you guys, this is worth it. I will try to be very brief. And if you guys are cool, I'll skosh over a couple more minutes just to try to get through this. You see how quickly it goes, and just maybe I talk too much. I'll try to do better. But this is wonderful for me because you guys get a chance to dial in with me and learn a little bit about me and how I respond to questions. Well, again, I'm interviewing. Well, Bob Ferguson. Whenever I think of Bob Ferguson, I try to bring that same grace we've always talked about. Bob Ferguson has a record. It's not getting personal. It's not being nasty. It's not talking about his finance or whatever he did when he was a young man. I could care less. But he has been the Attorney General, Chief Law Enforcement Officer of this state. And yet rape is up 51%, property crimes up 73%, murders up 95%, CHOP, Chaz, all of those things happened under his watch. House Bill 1333, violent extremism commissions that he wanted to form and facilitated all of this research for this, which is unconstitutional. And it's leading us to this whole mindset of what we're seeing over here with division and people taking shots at one another, trying to divide us and hold us down. And then he went as far as forward with this crazy law, and I'm not going to blame this on him, but this is a derivative of that House Bill 1333, the tattletale line, right? Hate and bias. You guys, and they took away the bounty of $2,000. Thank goodness. It's a bill that was just passed that says they're going to create a hotline that you dial in to report your neighbor for hate and or bias. Bias. We're seeing it right now in the chat group when people saying, trying to hit me in, what about your financial records going back? And what about 30 years ago and 40 years ago and 28 years ago? And your credit score is not this. Well, I didn't say 850. I said 815. Well, now it's 818. And bias, right? Unconscious bias, conscious bias, illicit. You see what's going on? Do I call a hotline? Do we pay all that taxpayer dollars for a hotline just to divide us forward instead of actually enforcing our laws? So this is what Bob Ferguson owns. He has been part of that Inslee administration that has driven our state to the precipice. And I will tell you this, further division is not the answer. It must be unity, and it must be unity around common sense. And so for my conservative brothers and sisters, I only have a few minutes, and so I'm going to be disciplined as much as that I can do, right? As much as I can do. And by the way, I'm looking at this, and this is from Dawn. HB 1333 only provides protection to the so this isn't HB. So HB 1333 did not pass. This is a derivative of, and so it's a different. But again, I just want to value what Dawn had to say. Oh gosh, Dawn had some words to say about Bob. I'm not going to repeat. Yeah, we've got to unite. And beating Bob Ferguson, and someone asked another great question, what do you do to engage diverse communities? And I did see your question in here, and it was a beautiful one. That is part of our strategy. There are people, and I want to say, and I hate to do this, but you have to, that are more progressive mindset, which is far left, that have been bringing, critical race theory and all these things to divide us. They talk about minorities like there's something wrong with us, that we're broken, and we need elitist Caucasian people to help us. No, we don't. Tuskegee Airmen, there's my answer. Booker T. Washington, there's my answer. Martin Luther King Jr., there's my answer. George Washington Carver, there's my answer. And I can go on and on and on. Those ladies who helped get that rocket to the moon, there's my answers. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not broken. We're Americans. Get out of our way. Let the Constitution and the Declaration come full speed ahead and stop dividing us. But we must understand there was a slow start. We're not going to go back in time. But some of the things that President Trump did, Tim Scott did, bringing those opportunity zones in. We're not dividing people in universities and bringing this affirmative action stuff into universities. But will we create a pathway? Bringing trades into schools? Lifting people out of poverty and despair? Not holding young black men down in the inner city who may have broken a law, but like this other 18-year-old who could be white, brown, purple, who we don't care, a young American, we're going to lift them up out of poverty and despair. That's what Byrd for Governor administration is going to do. Not holding anybody back. We want trade schools. We want to give people a pathway to the American dream, and that is not giving them a welfare check to keep people poor for the rest of their life, generationally. No more exploitation. So bringing real common sense solutions to all communities across the state, but valuing all communities across Washington state and respecting them, not judging them for how they choose to live their life or what the color of their skin is or their religion or choice not to believe in God like I do. It's the Constitution that is our guide for how we govern. It's my guide for how I will govern. And this common sense policy, these common sense policies that I bring forward, I don't have to act like I'm a leftist or left to get those votes. So folks, don't believe the smoke and mirrors you're being sold. This crossover vote they talked about, they're going to cross over a sitting conservative senator, Democrat senator, to get to a moderate Republican. Why would you cross over that Democrat to vote for a Republican when you can vote for a Democrat? Has anybody thought about that? But why would you cross over both of them to get to someone who's right there in the middle, looking at both sides, keeping it real with common sense policies? Because I represent something that has been missing from our government. I cannot be controlled. No one can pull my strings or control me. You can try to extort me, bribe me, vilify me, slander me. You can do whatever you want to. All you're going to get is a smile and a hug if you allow, or a handshake, because you don't own residency here or here. This space is taken. So is this. I stay positive and I move forward. And so as governor of Washington state, we're going to move citizens forward. We're going to bring unity. We're going to bring solutions. We're going to make it more affordable to live in Washington state. We're going to start by making sure we support those initiatives in November and repeal the Climate Commitment Act, right? The CARES Act, right? We're going to make sure capital gains goes away. We're going to support those initiatives, and then we're going to look for what else we can do to bring common sense governance back, to make it affordable, partnering with developers to build more units so that supply is there, and then partner with corporations to start moving their operations into rural counties and enriching those counties to alleviate the traffic and congestion so people now move there if the counties vote for it, if the counties vote for it and they want that. So there's so many solutions that we can do. This is why we're getting right here, Democrats and Republicans and independents, young people have been joining us because we don't represent one over the other. We represent everyone. And by the way, as I end, my friends, I'm not fighting against anybody. I'm not. I refuse. I'm fighting for everyone. And that's the difference between Bird for governor, where we fight for everyone. That's my intent. And to bring value. Folks, if you believe in our mission, because this is not about me, it's about our mission to save Washington State. Tell all your friends, and invite one of your friends who's a Democrat, invite some of your friends who are independents, invite them here, have them ask me the difficult questions. You know what, if they want to ditch the dirt, I mean, they can join the folks in that website and those groups who are so busy throwing us, but we have other things to do, focusing on solutions, reaching out, making those connections in all those different communities like this person asked. How are we going to reach those communities? It's going out and talking to them, respecting their voice and valuing them as brother and sister Americans of Washington State, citizens of Washington State, partnering with them, listening to them. That is what I've been doing. Not just going to Lincoln Day dinners. Oh, boy, that's about this much. So we're going to win this convention because we've been going out and engaging with patriots and conservatives. But if you think that's all we've been doing, oh, you missed the whole boat. That's about this much of the mission, what we've been doing for the last 2 years. So that's how we're going to win. That's it. It's not that hard. Have faith. Have faith. And tune in next week. We're going to start doing some videos. I'm going to start putting out more policy papers, more policy videos. We're going to be sending out more emails. Folks, we're going to continue to get engaged. And again, I'm learning. I'm going to go back through this, and I'm learning. I saw something here. Nope. It was a flash, and then it was gone. With that said, I'll see you next week. Tune in to more common sense. This is going to be episode 19. I promise you this. Oh, it's going to be good. God bless. Take care and stay positive.